Hi there, I'm Champion Trader Kevin Davey, and today I'm going to test another trading algo. So let's get started. Today's algo that I'm going to trade is just a simple price pattern. We're going to put it to the test. Is it any good? We'll see. First off, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it. Let's talk about this algo system. This is a pattern that I talk about in my book, Entry and Exit Confessions of a Champion Trader. It's a very simple pattern. And graphically, that's the best way to describe it. So consider you have 4 bars. Now these bars could be any time frame, doesn't really matter. And the current bar, that's going to be like your signal bar, is the one on the right. So this goes back 3 bars behind or before the signal bar. So you're looking for a few things here, and I'll show you this graphically, and then I'll show you in the code. So first off, you're looking for the low of 3 bars ago to be greater than the high of the current bar. Okay, that's the first one. And you're looking for the low of the previous bar to be below the high of the current bar. And you're looking for the low 2 bars ago to be below the low 1 bar ago. And finally, you're looking for the close 1 bar ago to be lower than the close of the current bar. So you're looking for those 4 conditions. And when you see those, that's going to give you a signal to buy. So here's what the TradeStation code looks like. So just like I said, if the low of 3 is greater than the high of 0, which is the current bar, and the high of 0 is greater than the low of 1, and the low of 1 is greater than the low of 2, and the close of 0, current bar, is greater than the previous close, then you buy. Vice versa for selling short. And then for exits, obviously, if you had a reverse signal, you would stop and reverse. That's part of it. But I also have a close stop loss, so it's not actually a hard stop loss during the bar, but at the end of the bar, if your open position profit is below a certain amount, then you exit the next bar market. Or a profit target, if it's greater than a certain amount, you exit. And I also have a break-even stop here, or pseudo break-even. If your max profit went above a certain amount, and now your profit at the end of the bar is below 0, which you could change if you wanted to, then exit. So that one, if you get a lot of max profit, and then it suddenly goes back to 0, you probably want to exit. That's like a break-even stop. And the reason I did it like this rather than just use TradeStation's set stop loss, set profit target, set break-even is sometimes with those you get into situations where there's multiple trades in a bar and you have to use look inside bar back testing. With these, it's a lot simpler. You don't necessarily have to use look inside bar back testing. And I like these better because sometimes you'll get a spike during a bar that would have kicked you out, especially on the stop for the stop side, obviously. And this just looks at the closing prices. So it's something to think about if you've never done it before. For optimizing, again, it's 3 variables, the closing stop, the closing target, and the closing break even. You can see I have different ranges for those. 3 optimized inputs, 45 total iterations. So I'm not optimizing a whole lot. These are pretty big ranges here, $1,000 to $3,000 in steps of 1,000. So I don't look at steps of $1. Some people do that. Some people think, hey, a stop of $1,112 is optimum. Well, no, it's not. Even though it might tell you it is, that's probably just noise that you're optimizing on at that point, if you get it down to the dollar like that. So I try to keep it big ranges, not many iterations. Again, that's just my philosophy that I teach. Now you might say, well, hey, okay, you showed us the code, you showed us what you optimized. Why don't you just give us the system, okay? Why are you doing this where you test it and say, oh, well, this looks good, and just give it to us, okay? People ask that. And they say, why not just give us the system? Well, one reason is you probably will say, oh, I got this free system, and you'll probably treat it like that, and you will not trade it ever because you won't trust it because you've never tested it. There's a huge benefit to testing things yourself and that process of discovery and creating a strategy that gives you confidence to trade it. My philosophy with all these videos, and they've been pretty popular videos so far, so I think a lot of people agree, is the old fish and the man thing. You know, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is trying to not just give you fish, I'm trying to teach you good practices so that you can go off and fish for yourself and, you know, get as many fish as you need, kind of thing. So that's my philosophy, and that's why I don't just give you all the code and say, oh, just trade this and don't ask questions. I encourage people I work with, the students I have, you want to ask questions, you want to test things. And the people who are good algo traders that I've seen, that's their mindset. They don't want to take stuff and just trade it without verification. They want to test it on their own. First test I run, it's a preliminary test over 2 years of data. I want to see if a strategy is robust. Long story short, there's 97 combinations of markets and bar sides that are good here, and that's over the past 2 years. So that means this strategy is working in certain markets and certain situations right now. That's nice to know. Here's a couple walk forward equity curves. I also, after I do the preliminary testing, I also run walk forward testing. Japanese yen, 360. Japanese yen isn't necessarily a really easy system, easy market to come up with systems for. This one looks pretty good. There's that kind of protracted drawdown, which, you know, might not like, but it's not bad. And then here's the mini S&P 120 minute. The nice thing is you can see it's been performing in 2022, even though we've had kind of down market. I've definitely had systems that just out and out failed starting in 2022, especially in the stock indices. If you have a long bias in your strategies, those probably got hammered. This particular system has done pretty well. Then if I look at what I call trading potential over the past 15 years, which is what I like more or less to test over, might be a little more. There's 9 combinations that look good, and they're listed right there. Not a fully tested strategy, so you will want to do some tests on your own. I have a couple more steps in my process that I always test before I approve a strategy, but in general, the idea seems pretty sound, so this would kind of be worth pursuing. And again, I say this in every video that I do of these algo strategies, but test it yourself and test it correctly. That's the thing I don't say here, but it's implied. If you don't know how to test, learn how. Learn a proper way. Because I'll tell you what, just taking a strategy and just optimizing the heck out of it, that's not the way to do it. And, I'll leave it at that. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment. I interact with all comments. I want to know what you're thinking. Do you like this or don't you? Let me know. Give it a thumbs up too. That always helps me say, hey, people are liking this stuff. All right. I'm Champion Trader Kevin Davey. Thanks for watching.